Hi everyone, Nadia here, and welcome to Friday Spiritual Advocacy. What is spiritual advocacy? That term came about through a long road of trauma and addiction recovery. I was a rising star, worked hard to become an attorney, an elected school board member, receiving national awards, and I fell hard and publicly. Unaddressed trauma and addiction reared its ugly head, and I fell. The public shaming was so rampant, I couldn't even deal with my own internal shaming. So spiritually advocating to connect to the truth of what we all are is what saved my life. Spiritual advocacy is both individual healing so that we can then have transformative justice. Spiritual advocacy and individual healing includes connecting to our truths within and choosing love over fear and judgment. That is a process, but it is possible. It's choosing self-compassion over any shame that might come up, no matter what. When we can connect to our truths, we are better able to take a stand. When there is bullying, when there is a negative comment said about anybody struggling from mental health and addiction, we are better able to wrap our arms around them and say, why is this person behaving this way? What is going on with them? It can lead to systems change where we have transformative justice, where instead of just branding and sentencing people, we can provide whole family healing, treatment centers that address both the parent and the child. So spiritual advocacy, again, it's individual healing and transformative justice. Now let me tell you, I am living this work, using it on a daily basis. As a parent, and then separately as my own individual woman. I shared a story, a parenting moment, and how my youngest son, Elijah, in the midst of trying to get his iPad away, said, "You love Harrison more," his twin brother, and how that in the past probably would have sent me down one of those disconnected mental string of thoughts and worries and fears and self-judgment about how prior separation, when I needed to get help, how it affected him. Thinking, oh my God, he thinks I love him less. Now, in that moment, a golden moment of parenting, I was able to not go there. And I was able to say to him, I love you, period. Now give me the iPad. It's time to go play outside. This is an example of how choosing love in a moment, not only for myself, how it led to being fully present for my child. Involving some prior trauma work, involving meditation, involving self-compassion led to me being a present mother that was choosing love for self and then for my child in the moment. That is banning shame. My oldest son, Diego, came up with his own concept of how he watches his mind. I refer to how our mind creates attack thoughts. Our minds are survivalist in nature, and so it will create fears that are needed, right? But often We forget that we are not our mind. We forget that we're infinite beings, whole, perfect, and complete. And those fears and judgments can have mental intrigues, and especially if you're a creative person or analytical or just a human being, our minds will go on rides, all initiated by an attack thought on self or one on others. When we remember that our minds are survivalist in nature, we can say, oh, that's an attack thought, and put it in its place, observe it, not beat ourselves up, and hopefully not jump on that train and just stay in the present moment. Diego, my oldest, doesn't use that phrase, attack thoughts. Like him, you can come up with your own analogy. He refers to his head as a radio with varying channels or feelings and thoughts, where he can tune the volume down or he can completely shut it off. You can come up with your own analogy. When I tune a channel down or a radio thought completely off, I am able to connect to what I call a home within me. A home that without it, I wouldn't have been able to live the skill as I did in the last 24 hours. Prime example. There's a Netflix series, a docu-series that talks about media and trial. I briefly watched it, stupidly. Well, not stupidly. I was aware that it may trigger me. And sure enough, last night, I had a nightmare. I hadn't had a nightmare in a very, 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 very long time. Now, in the past, I experienced months and months of psychological terror that had me so buried in an understanding of myself that was so damaging that I actually believed that the abuser was the only person that could help me. That was interpreted as consent. Had an effect in court that eventually resulted in non-prosecution. The media covered the terror in a way as though all of the abuse had been consensual. All of the contact had been consensual. Not really diving deeper into what is called a dyadic abusive relationship. When we can have cross-training and things like that, where therapists can better train media, maybe things will change. But after watching this Netflix show, something must have come up in my head deep and reminded me of some of these awful, degrading articles. The nightmare included some flashbacks. And I woke up a little bit shaken. However, I chose love. I chose tuning in to the truth of not only what I am, but the factual truths. It doesn't matter what was said out there. That is not reality. The reality is right here and right now. That is banning shame within that can lead to banning shame out there. So this is living the work as a mother and as a woman today. Nothing is perfect, but here we can gain the skills. I can share the skills that I use so that others that may be branded, that may feel misunderstood by their partner, by their community, by their family, whatever it might be, that may be sitting alone in the darkness, close to a relapse or in relapse, or depressed or lonely, feeling like they can't reach out for help. You can reach out for help, and you are not alone. First, embrace yourself. Remind yourself of the love and truth that you are and that you give. Nothing that is said or done changes your true self. Nothing. Find that home within, and you can recover. I am sending warm, healing hugs out to everybody. Together, we can and will ban all shame. Please share with me how you are, okay? Sending warm, healing, strengthening hugs to everybody. Okay? Bye for now.